Right. So don't tell me anything. Let me see if I can connect with Tucker, okay? Okay. Hold on a second. I'm getting somebody else. Hold on. Who is this? Let me get more information on this because I'm being interrupted, which it's not Tucker, that's this energy. Because I'm trying to, that's not Tucker, it's someone else interrupt. It's like if someone lost their father, I have to say, connecting with you, and I get this rugged, maybe wore motorcycles or drove motorcycles, has like that typical kind of like rugged gear. And they were definitely a smoker. And I'm getting like lung, heart issues as well.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm hearing like a Ani name or Donnie name or something something Ani name they're connecting with as well. I don't know if it's theirs or someone they're connecting with in spirit. I'm still trying to see if I can connect with Tucker. I don't know if I can through this format because I got interrupted by this dad energy. So maybe you and I can do something more privately. I think he wants it private.
Okay.
So if you want to, I won't charge you for that. Just send me an inbox. But I just feel like it needs to be private between you and I and him.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think they want to do. Tucker wants to do it through this format at all.
Okay.
So just send me an email. I'll do a private session with you for free, and we can get that out. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Here. Okay. Good to
Hi.
See you again. Good to see you again. So again,
Good to see you again.
Just to remind you, this is Nicole. Last week, if you watched the last live, and those of you who were here last live, she wanted to connect with Tucker, and I could not connect. I was getting a pushback, not to do it publicly. And so, because I was so, baffled by that, and her grandfather stepped through to kind of intervene, because I was so baffled by this, I was like, okay, I have to do a session with you after this one-on-one. And so we had that session today. And so, Nicole, I wanted you to maybe share with those who've asked, but also, again, tell them the twist at the end. And I think that'd be great to update everybody.
Well, in the beginning of the session, Scott was still getting pushback. He was still having a hard time connecting with Tucker. It continued. The only thing that Scott was able to pick up at that point was he was feeling a sun-like energy. This was like a sun. But he was really struggling to get anything else. So he asked me if maybe I would ask a specific question, maybe that would help with the communication. And I did. I had asked him if I asked if Tucker was with Aunt Carol, and I left it at that. And Scott picked up on what he could from there. It almost seemed like from there, Scott was finally able to, he found an avenue in which he was able to communicate with Tucker in the way that Tucker needed him to communicate with him. And it was, throughout the whole entire reading, more than once, Scott did keep mentioning that there was a communication barrier, and he didn't know if that maybe Tucker had a speech impediment because he was struggling to communicate. And there's lots of great things that Scott touched on. He did say that Tucker is with Aunt Carol, but only partially, just partially. And I allowed Scott to go through the whole entire reading where he picked up on many, many, many accuracies that probably didn't fully make any sense to him, but made complete sense to me. And as we were ending the reading, I asked him if he wanted me to indulge a secret that I had been keeping, in which I did. Would you like me to share that now, Scott?
Yes, now tell him the twist.
I'm very proud of him because he had been connecting with a dog. And that was the pushback, that communication barrier, trying to communicate with an animal is a whole other ball game than communicating with a human spirit. Right. And I did feel guilty after last week's Q&A, knowing that Scott was struggling, not understanding why he could not connect with this spirit. I understood what the pushback probably was, and I felt guilty not telling him, but I didn't want to tell him because I was afraid it was going to detour him from even trying to connect with Tucker. And I did tell Tucker that I knew that it was going to be hard for him but please just keep trying. And kudos to the both of them.
Thank you.
because it was work on both parts for them to find a way to bridge that gap in communication. And Scott had to read Tucker in a completely different way than he would normally read a human spirit. And the whole while, he still thought he was reading a human spirit.
Right, and a lot of it didn't make sense. 'Cause I kept saying, you see him in the hall, but I'm thinking it's like a teenager, like 16, 17. And I'm thinking, why is this person like a midget energy the whole time?
Yeah.
Something's not connecting here. And when she's telling me it's a dog, like, that's why.
Yeah.
So, and Tucker did validate, his anniversary and the cupcakes. I love that.
He did. It was amazing. He did mention that Aunt Carol was his rope, and that she greeted him, and that she was his rope, and she pulled him to the other side. And the really amazing thing about that, without trying to not be long-winded, is that prior to Tucker's passing, my mother had visited the graveside of Aunt Carol and asked her to please come and get Tucker, because it was time for him to go, and I didn't have the heart to do it, and he wasn't about to leave me on his own free will. And the very next day started the process of him passing.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. And we always made cupcakes for his birthday. And Tucker did mention to have a cupcake for him. There's a million things that he mentioned that were very personal. So Scott was 100% connecting with this dog, all while not knowing.
Yeah.
All while not knowing.
Well, and
he had to do it in a way that he doesn't normally read spirit,
Right.
in order to find a way to connect.
Right, and that was a test for me, which I'm blessed by too. But I wanted others to see, because others have asked, even people, my neighbors in Westlife, what happened with Tucker? So people actually were questioning what happened because they saw that moment. And I wanted others here to understand that our pets are still there, and they do come differently, but they're still connecting with us. And I think Tucker was telling me about, it wasn't about peace, it was about the feeling, right? It was about it was almost like a telepathic connection. And so our pets have that still because they're consciousness. And so I want everyone to understand that, yes, your pets and those that you've loved are still around you when they pass on as well. And I know a lot of times, and this is where I feel like I want to elevate my sessions, because a lot of times I'll just say, yeah, they're with you, and I see them having this and that, but I didn't really go in depth like I did with Tucker. So you helped me to say, we can go that deep with our pets and channeling. So that's where I'm like, after 15 years of doing this professionally, wake up call, and we can actually divulge more into pets. And so that was just a blessing for me. So thank you so much, Nicole, for,
You're welcome.
I'm glad you kept it a secret. I'm glad you kept it a secret.
I felt bad. My conscience was eating me up, but I was like, I'm not going to, because if I tell him, he's going to say, I don't read animals.
Oh, no, I do, but not like that. But I had asked last week, and this is why I think my guides pushed me. I said, I need another upgrade. I need another test. I need another challenge. I need to expand more of my abilities. Then you came in.
Well, and you did phenomenal.
Thank you.
You and Tucker both. You guys did phenomenal finding an avenue that worked in terms of communicating with each other. So thank you both.
Thank you, Nicole. And I hope this inspires others to understand they can connect with their pets too. So thank you so much for coming on, Nicole. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
A dog has no use for fancy cars or big homes or designer clothes. A waterlogged stick will do just fine. A dog doesn't care if you're rich or poor, clever or dull, smart or dumb. Give him your heart, and he'll give you his. How many people can you say that about? How many people can make you feel rare and pure and special? How many people can make you feel extraordinary?